What do you mean?
You want speaker?
Do I unmute myself? No, I don't unmute myself. Welcome to our worship service from the Unitarian Society of Northampton and Florence. I'm Laurie Loisel, and I am a liaison for today's service. Thank you to everyone in the Great Hall and at home who is helping this morning. We strive to be a congregation that welcomes people of all ages, races, religious beliefs, backgrounds, sexual orientations, gender identities, and abilities. We belong to the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations, and we are guided and inspired by its values and principles. Those values and principles move us to remember that we in Northampton inhabit unceded land of the Pocumtuck and Nipmuc peoples. Our values and principles remind us to acknowledge our responsibility to face the legacies of dispossession and systemic racism that are part of our collective history, even as we affirm and celebrate the legacies that inspire us. We are here to support and celebrate one another and to renew ourselves with hope and gratitude and new resolve. It's wonderful to see you all, both here in the Great Hall and online. More people will be here next week. If you are new or returning after a time away, welcome. Please feel free to fill out a welcome card, which you can put in the offering plate here on the chancel after the service. Doing that allows us to put you on our email contact list. For those of you online, there is a link to the card in the chat. For those here in person, thank you for wearing masks. We ask everyone to keep your videos off except during the greeting in order to help the technology work as smoothly as possible. There will be a Zoom social hour as well after the service, and now we'll begin our service. I forgot that I can take off my mask when I'm up here. Opening words. Do not worry in the least about yourself. Leave all worry to God. This appears to be the commandment in all religions. This need not frighten anyone. He who devotes himself to service with a clear conscience will day by day grasp the necessity for it in greater measure and will continually grow richer in faith. The path of service can hardly be trodden by one who is not prepared to renounce self-interest and to recognize the conditions of his birth. Consciously or unconsciously, every one of us does render some service or other. If we cultivate the habit of doing this service deliberately, our desire for service will steadily grow stronger and will make not only for our own happiness, but that of the world at large. Mahatma Gandhi. And now we will light our chalice. We light our chalice as a beacon of hope, a sign of our quest for truth and meaning. We light our chalice as a beacon of love in celebration of the life we share together.
Goodwill
This is the story of a young artist who inspired many people by using art as a form of activism. It's called Radiant Child, the story of young artist Jean-Michel Basquiat. Next slide, please. Somewhere in Brooklyn, between hearts that thump, double Dutch and hopscotch, and salty mouths that slurp sweet ice, a little boy dreams of becoming a famous artist. In his house, you can tell a serious artist dwells as he sits at a table with pencils scattered everywhere. Jean-Michel draws from morning until night with a serious face amidst a storm of papers. He refuses to sleep until he has created a masterpiece. At night, images enchant Jean-Michel's mind, and he wakes from his dreams to add one more line. His drawings are not neat or clean, nor does he color inside the lines. They are sloppy, ugly, and sometimes weird, but somehow still beautiful. His art comes from his mother, Mathilde, a Puerto Rican woman who designs and sews, cooks and dreams, and makes the house look like a stylish magazine. But most important, she lies on the floor and draws with Jean-Michel on his father's old work papers. From her, he learns that art is not only in the poetry books she reads to him or in the theaters and museums they visit. Art is in the street games of little children, in our style and the words that we speak. It is how the messy patchwork of the city creates new meaning for ordinary things. While visiting the museum, they look at his favorite works of art, reading the story behind each artist, reading the story behind each work. This is how Jean-Michel learns what it means to be a famous artist. Back at home, he creates art on the floor as his father, Gerard, plays jazz records, Mama Mathilde cooks arroz con pollo, and calls Jean-Michel mi amor. The energy and the life of the city can be felt in each of his drawings. As time goes by, Jean-Michel learns that art has a healing power. After a car accident, he is scared and confused. Mathilde gives him a book to calm his fears. It is filled with pictures of bones, skulls, and other body parts. Jean-Michel draws from it until he knows it all by heart. He is no longer afraid. Back at home, Jean-Michel's body heals, but his heart breaks. His mother's mind is not well, and the family breaks. She no longer lies on the floor and draws with Jean-Michel, but sits by the window, singing only to birds. Jean-Michel is confused and filled with a terrible blues when Mathilde can no longer live at home. He tries drawing the terrible out of his blues, but things are not the same. As Jean-Michel grows older, he visits his mother when he can, always bringing his artwork to show, telling her that one day I will be in a museum when I am a famous artist. A teenager now, Jean-Michel decides, Papa, I will be very, very famous one day. With a sly look, a twinkle in his eye, Jean-Michel leaves Brooklyn for New York City, the Lower East Side, a concrete jungle where only the tough survive. During the day, dressed in a green jumpsuit splattered with paint, Jean-Michel stays with friends, sleeping on couches and floors, leaving a barrage of collages and poem-filled papers everywhere he goes. At night, Jean-Michel spray paints the walls downtown with poems and drawings that catch the eye of artists, gallery goers, and passers-by. Under his art, he signs the name Samu instead of Jean-Michel. Everyone wants to know, who is Samu? Samu moves from street corners to gallery walls with powerful color composition and line, collaging and painting on anything he can find. His art is still not neat or clean and definitely not inside the lines, but somehow still is beautiful. With his magical charm, Jean-Michel draws a crowd, but when it's time to work, he prefers to be alone with the radio and TV on full blast. Now in expensive suits splattered with paint, he flips through stacks of magazines and open books and paints into the night, and sometimes for days at a time, while sounds and images jump into his head. Jean-Michel, an artist among artists, never doubts one line, creating from a soundtrack that is his own. People describe him as radiant, wild, a genius child, but in his heart he is king, so he draws crowns for himself and others he admires. A grown man now, with the art world in his hands, Jean-Michel still visits his mother when he can. And of his most important shows, above all the critics, fans, and artists he admires, the place of honor is his mother's, a queen on a throne. He is now a famous artist.
And now it's time for us to greet one another. If you're in the Great Hall, please turn and wave to one another. If you're on Zoom, you are invited to turn on your videos, wave and say hello in the chat. It's helpful to switch to gallery view. Anyone online or here in person who is new or newish and would like to, please say hello and tell us where you're from. Should I read the chat messages? Okay. I see hello in the chat. And also thanks to all who have pledged. Happy birthday, Barbara Smith, 70. Peg says, good morning, happy to see everybody. Jenna says, wow, Barbara, Chris will join you shortly. Should I go ahead and move on? It has been good to see everyone. Please remember to turn off your videos. And now it's time for everyone who's going to religious education activities to leave us. Please join us in humming or singing them out.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know.
Go now in peace.
Uh-huh. $413.
413.
Spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the Spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
And it is next.
Hello, I'm Emily Ackerd-Quintana. Our family arrived in Northampton in 2017 after burning out from the rat race of commuting in California. We were seeking a slower pace, better schools. Hello, I'm Emily Ackerd-Quintana. Our family arrived in Northampton in 2017 after burning out from the rat race of commuting in California. We were seeking a slower pace, better schools, more affordable housing, and a sense of community. Attending USNF has been key to developing our sense of belonging. Beginning with my first email to Janet asking about Northampton and her subsequent outreach to Jan and Jessica, and theirs to me, before we even left California, our connection to the community had begun. Early on in our attendance, Gail and Jan reached out to connect us with a local family who have since become our closest friends. Our teens attended RE, youth group, and OWL, and our youngest is now assisting with RE. My participation began because I was asked to join activities, events, and groups. Being personally asked to be a member of a committee and facilitate groups added to my sense of belonging. I do a lot of volunteer work, and it is here at the Society where I feel truly valued and seen. I never dread Zoom committee meetings here like I do for some of my other volunteer work. I'm not a religious person. I identify as a secular humanist. So why am I a pledging member of a church? Because I believe in what the Unitarian Society of Northampton and Florence stands for. I believe in social justice. I believe in responsibility for each other and our world. And I believe in compassion and gratitude. and find meaning in community. As a family, our commitment and connection to the society grew during the pandemic. We became reliant on Zoom services, and we benefited from congregational care during health challenges. I developed stronger relationships with other members through online committee work and virtual group gatherings. You see, stewardship is about so much more than money. It is about connection. That connection is made possible through pledges. I'll admit that at first, I found the whole conversation about pledging to be awkward. But something switched for me during the pandemic. We experienced the necessity of community, felt the need to contribute, and had the means to begin. Receiving pandemic relief payments prompted our family to have discussions about how we wanted to share that income. Pledging to USNF was one of the ways we choose to give back to show our commitment to community. Thank you. Hello.
Our generosity makes everything we do possible and helps us support Our generosity makes everything we do possible and helps us support organizations and movements in the greater community. Half of the proceeds of each week's offering support the Society's operating budget, and half are shared outside our walls. You can mail in a check or donate online. The link is here in the chat. You may also put cash or a check in the offering plate here on the chancel after the service. Thank you. And now we'll begin. Now we'll listen to the offertory music.
In a world that feels like it's falling down all around us, where it sometimes seems that fear and hate and greed are the predominant forces, I am very grateful that this Unitarian Society exists and that I am a part of it. I look to this community to support and sustain me in these difficult times, to be a place where I make meaningful connections, and to have a place to join forces with all of you to work and strive to make the world a better place. I need this society. And just as I need the society, I have become increasingly convinced that the society needs me. We, all of us, are the society, and as such, we all need each other. We each bring ourselves, our own individual backgrounds and stories, our talents and gifts, and we weave them together into a community that is stronger than any of us are alone. We are all connected in relationship with one another and with the whole. By being in relationship with all of you in a place where I believe we all strive to be our best selves, I have gained a better understanding of how I can contribute to the world. And as in any relationship, the roles I've taken on and the parts that I've played have changed and shifted over time, sometimes being very active and at other times stepping back and being still. Some of the parts that I've played here have been in the roles of elected positions, each time being asked to serve by a member of the nominating committee. I think that each time I said yes to serving in those roles, my reasons were different. The first time I was asked to serve, I thought, I don't know, me? Surely there are others who are more qualified. I was honored and humbled. It was immensely affirming that others in this society had confidence in my ability to serve and lead. I was reassured by the knowledge that in that position, as with many of the elected leadership positions, I would be serving alongside someone who had already served their first year. In my 2 years of being council co-moderator, I experienced the richness of being together with other people who were also investing in doing the good work of the society. In my 20 years here at USNF, I have served in 2 other elected positions, first on the president's team and then the nominating committee. I had come to know that saying yes was serving both myself and the society. I have been challenged to push myself beyond what I thought I had to offer. I have striven to be my best self, and in doing so have come to know myself better. I had the opportunity to learn and grow in understanding of how our society works. And I have gotten to know many of you better as, in the spirit of our living tradition, we worked collaboratively in the continuous shaping of this society in response to a changing world. I need this society. For me, it is a safe haven, a place for connection, and a beacon of light and hope. Along with all of you, it provides me with a whole host of opportunities to find ways to better our community and our world. As I have said yes and continue to say yes to serve this congregation in ways large and small, I feel good in knowing that I am contributing what I can to keep this society strong and thriving.
The meditation comes from Mary Oliver's poem, Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about your despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your lonely imagination, calls to you like the call of wild geese, harsh and exciting.
over and over, announcing your place in the family of things.
We are living in the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. I am alone and I am searching, hungering for answers in my time. I am balanced at the brink of wisdom. I'm impatient to receive a sign. I move forward with my senses open. Imperfection will be my crime. In humility I will listen. We're all swimming to the other side. On this journey through thoughts and feelings, riding intuition, my heart, I am gathering the tools together. I'm preparing to do my part. All of those who have come before me band together and be my guide. Loving lessons that I will follow. We're all swimming to the other side. When we get there, we'll discover all the gifts we've been given to share have been with us since life's beginning, and we never noticed they were there. We can balance at the brink of wisdom, never recognizing that we've arrived. Loving spirits will live together. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living by the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side.
This is a reading by Karen Johnston. Humans make maps of stars, choosing some stars, ignoring others, to project our imaginations onto the heavens. These maps shift over time across cultures. Names change for the same assemblage of bright points: Drinking Gourd, Big Dipper, Plow, Lost Hunter, Sapcharish. Humans make constellations by connecting stars. Humans make meaning by connecting stories, story to narrative to story. Some blaze bright, some are faint. Most are backdrop to the great and mundane human unfolding. Let us imagine the stories of our lives as a starry universe above our heads. As leaders of this congregation, we are tasked and trusted to draw constellations in this, our beloved, small universe. May the stories we connect draw constellations that reflect a shared ministry that calls out the best in us.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
Good morning. I'm Alan Dorman, and I've been a member of the USNF since 1994. Giving back is something that is in my genes. My parents were members of the UCC Church in Pittsfield growing up, and it was a large part of my childhood, attending and watching them be active members of the church community. The traditions, the music, the friendships, giving back, it was all absorbed. I attended youth fellowship as a teen and felt that, like our youth group, of which I am an advisor, provided a safe home for growth and learning, different from school and nurturing for all. Our youth here are great, and to mentor them and watch them blossom is truly a gift. In the midst of a busy career in hospitality, 2014 offered me more time and an opportunity to do more, when I was asked to be on the board here and gladly said yes. Those 3 years provided me another chance to give back, to a place and a community that I had received a great deal from, with friendships, grounding, and my own spiritual growth and learning. That later morphed into volunteering on our House and Property Committee, a never-ending but very satisfying commitment to learning how to care for and maintain this beautiful structure we call home. And that is what this is to us, our second home, a place where we can come once a week, or more often than that when on a Zoom meeting, to recharge our batteries, to learn, nurture, and grow. It is easy and natural for me to say yes, to ushering occasionally, or even looking forward to doing a reading for Janet on Christmas Eve. And these last 2 years have been so different and challenging, as we have all reevaluated and restructured our own homes and lives, realizing that a good offshoot of the pandemic has been slowing us down, urging us to continuously follow our gut, finding our passions, trying to do what is right and ethical, and creating balance in our lives to have the time to do what is so important. I have been part of the pandemic transition team to determine how best to move forward safely in these times. In sharing our efforts in creating the team structure, I shared this with my brother in Ipswich too, and his UCC church there created their own pandemic steering committee based on his advice. In my semi-retirement, where I work 3 jobs, not so much because I need to, but because I want to, doing what I love, working outdoors as a park ranger at Look Park, and more recently returning to the Deerfield Inn for a short stint, again, giving back to what I care about and love to do, finding my passions. Yes, our lives are busy with jobs and families and life in general, but by nurturing our second home, it does continue to give back to us all in return, and the end result is why we continue to give to ourselves to this wonderful place. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Toggerson, a member of the Nominating Committee. Weavings, webs, constellations, interconnectedness. We know that being part of our community, we are strands that comprise the warp and weft of our communal cloth, the silk that makes up our web, and shape the pictures we and our ancestors imagine in the sky. Okay, sorry, I got muted. Yeah, I'll start from the beginning. Oh, I got muted again. No. Stay muted. Stay muted. You can still be heard. Oh, cool. It's positive feedback when we're muted. Gotcha. All right, we're fine. But what of our anchor points? What is the warp and weft attached to? What does the spider attach its web to? And what stars do we name as the connecting points of our constellations? Without our anchor points, we lose our connectedness. We know through our community experience that we can still form a sanctuary without a minister, a headless sanctuary, but still a sanctuary. But we cannot form a sanctuary without those who act as our anchor points, those elected volunteers and unelected volunteers, those who volunteer as vice president, those who populate the finance committee, the intrepid and worthy person who takes on the role of treasurer, and those who fill so many of the other roles that make our community strong, connected, and growing. The nominating committee works to fill our elected positions, so of course I want to have you all jump up and say that you're willing to fill the position of the coordinating council clerk. The clerk takes and distributes accurate minutes of the coordinating council meetings, a 2-year commitment. Become a member of the board. Help shape the future of our congregation by participating in board meetings on the 3rd Monday of each month. Also, engage with members and friends by supporting activities of the congregation, a 3-year commitment. Or even join the nominating committee, recruit volunteers for positions to be elected at the annual meeting. Also, promote a culture of service and belonging and inspire new leaders, a 2-year commitment. All of these roles are part of what shapes and holds our community of faith together. Other non-elected roles are just as vital, such as being a member of, again, the Finance Committee, the Web Weavers, the Welcoming Committee, and so on. Thank you to all who support our community, be it through offering your tech services for our Sunday services, reaching out and supporting those in need in our community, and signing up for the Sunday jobs. And thank you for pledging or giving what you can. And thank you to those who come and offer themselves in the pews and Zoom. We are here in community together. For myself, near the end of my 4th year serving on the nominating committee, I have found the workload light-ish and fulfilling. I have struggled too, but I am compassionately supported by my committee members. Thank you all. But Laurel, you have kept me going this year. Thank you. I was reluctant to join the nominating committee because I don't have a broad acquaintance within the community, So how could I nominate anyone? But it turns out that even though I am not what I had imagined a nominating committee member to be, I support the work of the committee through my computer skills, efficient meeting style, and incidentally, my love of public speaking. You too have skills that serve our community. Not only do I serve the community by helping grow our leaders and leadership teams, I myself have benefited. As a person who struggles to connect deeply and stay connected, the nominating committee has drawn me deeper into my personal faith journey and has kept me here, joined to this Unitarian society. Not that I wish whatsoever to leave, not at all. But it is so easy to drift away, especially with the stresses of life that push and pull. For me, the endless hours on Zoom make just one more Zoom session unbearable. My toddler demands my full attention, and I struggle with a heavy workload that never lightens, especially this year. And for those who worry, like I did, about the burden and the fit of stepping into a position of serving our community, no one stands alone. Our community, as imagined and created by our Unitarian Universalist faith, also holds us together in compassion and understanding. We who value the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We who value justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. We who value acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. We who value a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We who value the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in the society at large. We who value the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And we who respect the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part, are a beautiful and compassionate community who supports the work and the individuals who act as stars in our sanctuary constellation. I invite you to consider anchoring yourself to your community. I invite you to consider becoming an anchor by joining a committee, a group, or a Sunday job. As Karen G. Johnson wrote, "May the stories we connect draw constellations that reflect a shared ministry that calls out the best in us."
Will
Our closing words are words by Nikki Giovanni. Life is only about the I tried to do. I don't mind the failure, but I can't imagine that I'd forgive myself if I didn't try.